All right, welcome to the book club. I'm Dylan, here with a man who smiles a lot to make up for his face. Keith, what's up, buddy?
And I'm here with D-Man, a.k.a. Boney.
That's terrible. That's so terrible. Well, here at the Buddy Book Club, we're breaking down some bestsellers, and this week we'll be discussing 2012's Gone Girl by Gillian Flynn. If you'd like to recommend a book for us to read, which is how we got this one, it was a listener reached out on Instagram and said, hey, I liked your Sharp Objects episode. Will you do Gone Girl? And I said, absolutely. So yeah, if you want to reach out to us any books we read or any past episodes, you can visit our website, buddybookclub.com. Slide into our DMs on Twitter, Instagram. That's Buddy Book Club Podcast. You can listen to us on iTunes, Spotify. Please download and subscribe. Let's get to stock up, stock down. What do you have for stock up?
Wanting fame, stock up. Most people that want fame are just sickos that read books and start a book club podcast, and so their ramblings.
That's why you got into this?
Can be heard. You know? But I think the theme of this book, which I didn't see pointed out when I was reading my Wikipedia notes, is that people will kind of do anything for fame in this day of age. You got Amy's parents who are basically promoting their books while pleading for Amy's return. They're like, just like Amazing Amy would do. They're like, on sale now. Okay, tone it down a little bit.
Hey, the creditors are knocking at their door, you know.
We got Noelle Hawthorne interrupting a candlelight vigil to announce Amy is pregnant. It's like, you couldn't do that any other time? Like, you're just trying to, get a little bit of attention to yourself. We got Tanner Bolt, who kind of specializes in defending murderous husbands. Mm-hmm. And his whole thing is like, I got, at the end of the book, he's like, I got Nick off. So, like, all these other guys are innocent now. Questionable there. Then we got Andy holding a press conference. If I'm Andy in her situation, I'm just not telling a soul about this, right?
Absolutely not. No way. It's so
you would be telling?
No.
Okay.
It's so uncomfortable. I wouldn't.
Yeah. It's so weird. So it just seems like everyone.
Plus the woman who took the photo with him. Who
exactly.
Cornered him at the thing, and I can't remember her name.
And she's like, he was being flirtatious, and it's like, geez, lady, like.
So you're pushing his like Mexican mac and cheese on him or whatever it was.
Amy at the end of this itself writes a book about it, so obviously she's cashing in too. So it all seems like that was kind of the big theme for me, was the fame aspect. The other thing that kind of hit home for me was now the people that are actually victims, the Hillary Handys, the Tommy O'Haras, the Desi Collings of the world don't have a voice, because the people that want the voice get the most attention. So kind of sucks for those people. But
yeah, it was tough for Nick when he's like, well, what about Hillary Handy and the other guy? And they're like, oh, they're both suicidal alcoholics now, so they're not going to be unreliable on the stand. Yeah. So yeah, that's not a safe bet, because it seemed like that was the easy way out. I did like how she weaved those two characters into it, where we had kind of heard about them, but mostly, she had this weird boyfriend or this friend who was who used to stalk her and like dressed up like her.
Couple red herrings that actually like were not red herrings because they're important to the story.
Exactly. And they just seemed like something to say in there, but then they came back to be actually important to showing who Amy was. So yeah, I thought you did a really, really good job of that. But in your fame thing, you also forgot Nick, who also tried to write his own story, but then Amy made him burn it or delete it. Or whatever.
Yeah. Huh. Well, his was more of a truth-telling thing, but he was, I guess.
Oh well, yeah, but he wanted to.
Yeah,
it wasn't like he wanted to get a story out there.
He's basically this is the devil. I need someone to believe me. So
yeah, that's fair. My first stock up is Amelia Bedelia. Are you familiar with that piece of intellectual property?
Go on.
It's a children's book about a maid, Amelia Bedelia, and it's a series of books, but she always...
Tough name from her parents, huh? Jeez.
She takes everything literally. So she's a maid for this family, but they'd say, go change the clothes or something like that, talking about the laundry. Yeah. And she would like physically change one pair of clothes to another pair of clothes. She was an idiot,
She's AI?
No, I just remember there was a baseball book too, and they were doing all the baseball pun things.
Who's on first?
They'd say like tag him, and she'd grab a tag and put it on him.
I guess that's probably hilarious when you're young, but go on.
My point being, Amelia Bedelia was, it's supposed to be fun loving, and people like her at the end because she makes good food, which is okay. It just once again teaches you that the moral of the story. Food will save you. Yeah, it's weird.
No wonder you like cooking.
I took it when I was a kid as like, wow, this woman is pretty dumb. It's these aren't hard to understand. And it was always like, oh, Amelia, you didn't get it right. So it's a stock up because if Amy's parents had written Amelia Bedelia instead of Amazing Amy, I don't think we would have been here. It's a little bit of a counterfactual. It's because her parents are so messed up on their own right that they decided to totally mess up their own child by creating a character of her that was the idealistic, perfect version of her, where if she decided to not play an instrument, that character decided to pick up the instrument. And if real Amy couldn't make the varsity volleyball team, Amazing Amy did make the varsity volleyball team, or whatever the case is. It's just it's an easy way to really mess your kid up. And I think, as a parent, my goal, besides obviously keeping your kid safe, is just don't screw them up. It doesn't matter how many times you take them to tennis lesson or something like that. They're not going to become a tennis pro. That's just not how it's going to be. But you sure can mess them up pretty easily by doing things like Amy's parents did. So I don't think she would have been this psychotic murderess that she was if they had just not done any of that. And that also is her trust fund thing when she said, oh, I have to give my parents that money. That's it's their money at the end of the day. It's no, they put it in a trust fund for you. They used you to create this character. You have some stake in you have some stake in their fortune. And if they mismanage their piece, that's on them. Don't come a knocking. Figure out a way to make another Amazing Amy novel, or figure out something else to write. If they're such world-renowned psychologists or whatever the case is, and have written all these books, and they're children's books. I read a lot of children's books. Most of them are terrible. You can very easily just write another Amazing Amy book, but do it for a different generation, put iPads in it, whatever the case is.
Well, yeah, I had parents as a stock down, so similar vibes. I will defend Amy's parents a little bit here in that they did set her up with a good upbringing and a big trust fund. It doesn't sound that bad. She had a pretty good life.
But as a child, she was always getting compared to Amazing Amy. They'd be oh, you're Amazing Amy. And so she felt oh, I have to be this character.
Well, LeBron James' kid is named LeBron Jr.
Yeah.
Right? What do you
Bronny, yeah.
Grow up.
And he's in the NBA.
Yeah, exactly. You're getting a lot of things handed to you that other people didn't have. Look at Hollywood parents, of young actors. They are actually getting fucked where they're doing all the work and then all their money's taken by their parents. Her parents at least... I serious that they obviously fucked her up. But yeah, just don't have her read the books and don't present her as the Amy. Or they should just change the name. Really, they should just they should have taken the stories from her, but use a different name.
Yeah,
that's
simple.
more on her.
Save it.
That's pretty simple. Yeah.
Amazing Amelia Bedelia.
Or they just should have called her something different. Her first name's Amy. We're going to call you Amelia Bedelia. That's your real first name now. But her being a psychopath is more to do with her than it is to do with her parents, in my opinion. I will say Nick's parents. I don't remember if Nick's dad's in the movie, but it'd be great to be cast as him as just the guy that only says fucking bitch the whole movie. He just would pop up and just say fucking bitch. And then Nick would say that to other people because of him. And I was like, yeah, that's a weird, tough dad to have.
Nick would have some crazy serial killer type moments. He's fucking bitch, fucking bitch.
Yeah,
it's okay, slow down, dude.
Yeah, kind of.
Take a breath.
Kind of weird there, yeah. So.
What else do you have for stock up?
Madden awareness rating stock up.
Oh.
So in Madden football, for those that are unaware, they would assign awareness ratings, which is kind of weird. The left guard would have a awareness rating of 90, which just mean he'd block the person in front of him. But then a bad one would have a awareness rating of 40, and so they just wouldn't block the person. It was it didn't really make any sense why their need for that. But Nick's awareness rating in Madden is a 15 out of 100. It's pretty tough here. He's just kind of oblivious of everything that's going around.
You're saying during post Amy getting quote unquote
just
abducted?
No, 100% of the time. Just overall,
always.
Yeah, his awareness rating permanently. It doesn't go up or down. It might go down if anything, but he's just doesn't know what's going on with Amy at any point in the relationship. It seems like he's kind of oh, she's drugging me, I guess. It's oh, she poisoned herself, I guess. Oh, she has other friends, I guess. It's how do you not know? I mean, you should be able to stumble on by accident to one of these things, let alone, wouldn't you be one time where you just wake up and you're Oh my god, I just feel like I just got completely knocked out. And that drink last night was really weird. I just immediately passed out after drinking it. Wouldn't you like have like some sort of light bulb, or you just be like, well, whatever?
Yeah, especially after they're married and the relationship is on the rocks. Yeah, it is weird because he was at the bar, all day. Granted, it's a bar; it doesn't open until noon. He even says like I didn't set myself to an alarm clock. I don't wake up at all different hours. So when you're waking up at 9 a.m. and you don't go to work until noon, you and Amy are in the house together. Like, what's going on? Like, are you having a conversation? Because it sure doesn't seem like. Granted, I understand that Amy was trying to create this whole backstory narrative that like she was hiding her friendship from the woman down the street, but he's so oblivious to his surroundings that at no point was she able to like see her and like get a glower from her or something because of all the stuff Amy had put in her head.
Yeah, at one point and been like, I talked to your wife, whatever. And then what it was funny to me was that is he Anakin Skywalker? People were like, yeah, he hates the beach, obviously. And I'm like, who would nobody knows this guy at all. Why does everyone know he hates the beach? That's such a weird.
Yeah, how do the random people from town know that he doesn't go to the beach?
Yeah, think about anyone in your whole life, that anyone you've ever met. Have you ever met anyone that's like, oh, I don't go to the beach, I hate the beach?
Well, probably, but I wouldn't remember it.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's my whole thing is like, you might hate the beach, but like, is that something that people would be like, oh, he would never go to the beach?
Yeah.
What?
It's like,
unless he's Anakin Skywalker.
Do you know Nick Dunn? Sand. He says he was at the beach. Or nope, yeah. Nick Dunn was definitely not at the beach. He hates it. Unless people just go into the bar and like that's his thing. He just goes like, I hate the beach. It's like, all right, cool. Yeah. My next stock up was honest relationships. Stock up to those. So Amy spends the beginning of her relationship with Nick pretending to be like the person that she thinks he wants, what she refers to as a cool girl. And, one who doesn't mind if he like skips on drinks with her friends and fellatiates upon request. But then once their marriage starts, she reveals her true self, one who would indeed be mad if he skips drinks with her friends and does not graciously provide one-sided sexual pleasures upon request. But, and I think there is, well, obviously it's a problem for an honest, having an honest relationship that's helpful. And I think there is obviously we can all understand this to some degree because when you first start dating someone, you do put on your best face. You put on your best self. You shower regularly. That's something that I would do. No, but you try to be the person that they want, and the person that they want you to be, and maybe you hide some of your like little flaws or whatever the case is. I don't know. I can't think. Well, I guess this wife could be mad at me, but when we started dating, I think she constipated herself for like 2 straight weeks. It was just like, I will not poop in front of you. It was like, at one point she told me to go walk the dog and I was like, why? And I was like, that's so weird. Why would you just tell me to go walk the dog? She was like, I have to use the bathroom. I was like, you can go to the bathroom. This is not a turn off. This is just a bodily function that everyone needs to do. But, that's, they people do things to make people want to love them as humanly possible. The one thing they don't do then is get pissed at that person for not loving the real version of themselves that they hid for the entire time. And then also being mad at them for being stupid enough to think that the person they presented originally was not the person that they are. It's like, how could you be so dumb to think that I'd be cool with you not getting drinks with my friends? Like, obviously that was a show because I was just trying to put on my best face.
Well, I assume the divorce rate's so high is because this happens probably a good amount. No, wouldn't you say?
No, I don't think so. I don't think that's necessary. I don't think that specifically is it, because maybe with people who get married super quickly or those crazy people who don't live together before they get married, which is wild to me because, although you're in a romantic relationship, you are also roommates. So you gotta, there's a thing about keeping a house together, or whatever the case is, that matters. What if someone just upper decked every single time? Back to the poop stuff. It'd be like, wow, I can't believe we are now married, and I didn't realize you don't know which part of the toilet to poop in. So, I could see that being a problem.
I will say too that, but with Amy, that one of my hates was that she's like, yeah, I'm supposed to be this perfect person, which does suck. I feel like women have it much harder in the dating world of like having to be flawless.
Mm-hmm,
but
definitely. Then
she's like, I don't want to do all these things, be the cool girl and eat pizza on the couch and watch TV. But then she goes off in hiding and she starts eating unhealthy and watching TV all day. I'm like, so you're just doing
She's
the
so
thing
cool
that
now.
you were complaining about. Yeah, you're like saying it's so hard to do things. She's like, I want to read Jane Austen, and she's like reading trash books. I'm like, so you're just doing all the things you said that you hate that I have to put on airs and do. You're just a huge liar. So
yeah, some of her points I thought were extremely valid.
Yeah,
especially about the roles women play in these relationships and like what's asked of them. But then other stuff like the Jane Austen stuff or whatever the case was, it's like you can do that. At some point you have to say, I'm gonna be me because I can't not be me. So if that's going to turn this person off, then we weren't meant to be together anyways. So so honest relationships, stock up, talk to your loved ones, people. Did you have any other stock ups?
Just one quick one, watching The Wire stock up.
Oh, that's always a stock up.
Yeah, Nick Dunn is obviously a fan of The Wire. I mean, honestly, I think his character is very, very similar to Jimmy McNulty. Bit of a narcissist, bit of an alcoholic, bit of a philanderer.
Yeah.
He also picked up some tips, the burner phone, and he's also playing criminal like psychologist with his wife, being like, I know she'll like if I wear this watch and this tie that she got me, which is, to be fair, that's the book. I think, I don't remember this in the movie, but in the book, you start to see, Nick's also an absolute psychopath also. Like, all the things he's thinking and things like that, it's like, he's a crazy person. So
yeah, the only thing they did in the movie from my memory
is too.
was have, like, they had that sign that was like, I love you, and they'd like touch their face or whatever. It was like, I'm always telling the truth or whatever the case is. And they did that in the movie, but it just felt weird. It felt like the guy who played Mad Eye Moody, the fake Mad Eye Moody in the Harry Potter movies, who has the weird tongue thing. Yeah, the weird tongue tick. It was like, it's like that. Why is that there? Who put that there? Yeah, so I don't think I liked that part of the movie very much. My other stock up, or my last one, I guess, besides Hell Hath No Fury, Like a Woman Scorned. That's obvious. That one's too easy. But actually, no, I got two, I guess. One is having a job, stock up. It's another counterfactual, but I don't think Amy would have the time to meticulously frame Nick for her murder had she just had a job. They'd be stuck in the standard doldrums of a 9-to-5 at the end of the day and just, want to get some takeout and watch trashy TV. Well, she wouldn't want to watch trashy TV. She'd want to watch Broadchurch. No, not Broadchurch. Bridgerton. What's the one? What's the one on PBS that people really like about the
history of World War II, presented by Tom Hanks?
No, but I did try to watch that. It's only on it's on like Pluto or Tubi or something, right?
It's on Hulu. Yeah.
Oh, it's on Hulu. Oh, okay. Yeah. I definitely
didn't realize Russia was like legit allies or not.
With Germany?
Yeah, I didn't realize that for that long. I thought they were like, whatever, we're fine. I didn't realize they were legitimate allies.
Oh yeah. Hitler was like, okay, I'm gonna go into Poland on this side. You go into Poland on that side, and let's just absolutely smash their faces in. Okay, cool.
Tough day for Poland. But anyways,
if Hitler had never turned
our guys on that, by the way, too.
What guy?
Hardcore history guy.
Oh, Dan Carlin?
Yeah, they show like one clip of him talking. I was like, all right, I'm locked in now. And then they don't show him for the next like episode 5 again. I'm like, whoa, where's Dan Carlin presenting that? I don't need anyone else telling me about this shit other than Danny Carlin.
Yeah. If Hitler probably didn't do Operation Barbarossa, which was the invasion of the Soviet Union, he probably would have been able to hold on to Fortress Europa for a long time.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
No, what's that? Whatever. It's the PBS show about the help in the house, and people love it. But English thing, whatever. But yeah, so if she just had a job, I know it's like hard. Obviously, she's a writer and she's now in Missouri or wherever the case is, so it's hard to find a job. But if you're a writer, just write. Like, don't writers write? That's pretty much what Gillian Flynn did. Like, her character in this is pretty much Nick because she was fired by Entertainment Weekly, I want to say. I think she was fired by Entertainment Weekly during the recession and decided to write a book and wrote this book. So it's like, yeah, like put your powers to good use. I guess Amy did put her powers to good use. She just has some psychotic powers.
Yeah, we've had a few of these books where it's been like struggling artists or artists that are like I couldn't do it because you made me whatever. It's like it's art. You're an artist.
Yeah,
like
just
it's not.
art. Just do art.
Just people do that for fun when they get home for 4 to 5 hours. Like what I mean? Like it's not it's nothing that's really holding. It'd be different if it's like, I want to play golf all the time. It's like, well, I can only play during the day and I work during the day, so I really can't go play golf. I can go paint a picture at any time of the day. You know what I mean? So,
yeah, they invented electricity. We got it. You're good.
Yeah. So,
but my last stock up was stock up to being an absentee father.
Okay.
Ultimately, Nick has to go back with Amy and live with her and pretend their marriage is what it is because she pulls her last straw card, which is she's pregnant. She got a hold of his semen, got it inseminated in her, and now they're having a baby. And that's it, right? Like, that's the whole thing. It's like, okay, now we're having a baby. And he's like, I can't leave this baby, so I have to put up with her. It's like, oh, no. You don't understand. You can definitely leave that baby. You do not have to be in that. You don't have to be in that child's life. I know it's super messed up, and I appreciate that you want to be a father to this child, but you're with a absolute psychopath who has framed her in her murder that then she came back on and is now tried to frame you in a attempted murder with a vomit thing and has now basically forced you into fatherhood with her. And who knows what she's going to do? Any one day she could do something crazy, and it's not going to get easier when you have a kid involved. I can guarantee you that. So why not just say, I'm out, right?
I mean, she's been slipping him drugs this whole time. Maybe a little what's good for the goose is good for the gander. Give her a little abortion pill in there, no? Anyways.
Oh, yeah, no, that's fair. There's nothing. This child should not be brought into this 100%, world. I mean, the child is probably going to be abused psychologically by Amy as well, So
I do want a sequel with the child. I kind of want to see what type of psychopath is growing up.
It's like Macaulay Culkin from The Good Son. That's who it is. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, but I'm just saying he didn't have to be there. It didn't. Yeah. It wasn't enough for me to hold
the ending was kind of some of my hates. I was like, so why don't you just leave? But I mean, I think that's why they painted him as dependent. He's like, oh, I have to be with her because we're the only people that can be together.
Oh yeah, we're gonna get more into Nick because I got issues there. What about stock down?
Being poor, stock down. I don't know if this was a stock down before, but being poor sucks for obvious reasons. But I think this book definitively states that getting away with murder is way easier than being poor for 10 days. I mean, she's just off doing her own thing, right? Basically being the person that she says she doesn't want to be because it's, too hard watching TV, lounging out, being by the pool all day. But she gets her money stolen. And instead of being like, well, this is the real world, time to figure things out. She's
time to get a job.
I'm going to have to call other people and call Desi to come save me. It's like, oh, that seems like you're like, oh, I have everything planned and everything mapped out. It's like, so you couldn't handle being poor for 10 days? So you could think of every possible imaginable angle. You could literally replan and plan a murder multiple times over, but you couldn't figure out how to survive for 10 days?
Well, to be fair, she was planning on killing herself originally.
True, but if you think you're that smart and that better than everyone, wouldn't you be able to be like, I guess it goes back to getting a job, but would you be able to get a job or write a book or do something that...
Yeah, I think really she's just a silver spoon baby, right? She's just used to that lifestyle, had it all, which Nick complains about a bit, like, oh, I had to work so hard and, you had tennis lessons.
Nick's annoying little bitch.
But yeah. So, there is some validity to that where she just hasn't ever had to necessarily pull herself up by her bootstraps. So,
yeah, that's true.
My first stock down was mixing family and business. Stock down. So using the last of your wife's trust fund to open a bar with your sister, it's just not It's not a great way to go about things. One, it's the last of your money, your wife's money for sure. It's a bar in a rundown town that isn't going to be getting back on its feet. There's a dilapidated mall, and like it was a place where they wrote blue books or something like that, but now those aren't a thing anymore. It seems he treats this as like this was a great business opportunity, where it seems more like Prestige Worldwide type of business opportunity. Just not going to work. And Margot took a second mortgage or something on her house to pay for Nick's legal fees. So why didn't she do that to open the bar? If you guys are so passionate about this business opportunity and you think it's going to make money, why go crawling to your wife for the last of her trust fund instead of saying, hey, Margot, like, we're going to do this. Let's put a second mortgage on your house. We believe in this business model. And Margot also, she was in investment banking. She was seemingly an investment banker, and then the market crashed and now she's poor. So I'm not sure about her business acumen either. It seems like she had a decent opportunity there to make some money and squirrel some away. So to not have any money now to put down for a bar, I guess the only thing she could do is buy a house in her original hometown, which I assume houses don't go for a lot. But yeah, it's just, I didn't like the taking the trust fund money to, especially like the last of your money. The parents already squeezed everything out of it, and now you're coming in for the last little bit to buy a bar.
Maybe in Nick's fantasy was like, all right, well, me and the wife will go and run this bar, and then we'll be able to like work on our writing career as like while we're doing it, and we'll I mean, it's a bar. I mean, we're all like the most famous writers at bars all day drinking, writing. So, like, It seems to me like it's not the worst. Someone's got to come up with some idea, right? And she kept on saying it's both of our money. So he's like, all right, let's fuck around and let's get it, like, let's invest in something here if we're going to stay here.
Yeah, it's not a terrible idea if you're actually trying to then go and sit there and write a novel, but they would go in and just sit and drink. It's like Patty's Pub.
Yeah. I mean, he was happy about it, right?
Well, yeah, definitely.
It makes you happy.
I mean, Nick was living the best life. He's sitting at a bar that his wife owns, drink. And in the movie, too, I watched like the first 15 minutes of it. I will finish it, but I watched like the first 15 minutes of it. But he goes in, and it's Ben Affleck, and this is not in the book, but it makes a lot of sense for the characters. And he sits down with Go, and they're having Blanton's, which is extremely expensive.
The one with
bourbon.
the horse on top?
Yeah, the one with the horse on top. They're having Blanton's at like 8 a.m. So it's not even, you're not drinking the swill, you're drinking the top tier stuff, which I understand, it's your bar, but at the same time, you're not making money hand over fist here. It's your wife's bar, really. And you're sitting there at 8 a.m. drinking beers and drinking Blanton's as opposed to, I don't know, doing whatever.
Listen, but yeah, if she's like, we need to save this money so I can do X, Y, Z, fine. But if we're not having any ideas thrown out here, I don't hate it. You gotta put down money to make money, kid.
Yeah,
come on, so. This is the capitalism 101.
I'm like, invest in an index fund.
yeah. What are we doing here, kid? He's putting it into something that's real. Bar and drinking are both real. Yeah. And again, how are you gonna get inspired? Give me one famous author. I can't think of the guy that was an alcoholic that would write. Hemingway. How do you think he's gonna become Hemingway without drinking, kid?
Well, yeah. You also have to like go wrestle at bears and fight in the Spanish Civil War and like do other stuff that's interesting. Not sit in a podunk town.
He grew up without a silver spoon in his mouth. You don't know what it's like.
My last talk down is Nick Dunn, and I'm just gonna say it. Amy is actually psychotic, but Nick is a total dick. An absolute total dick.
Journal version of him or real, or like his own
real
internal
version of it? Well, I also have questions about that, and we'll talk about this as I'm going through it, because I'm not sure. Well, I guess we can address this here because it's going to be pertinent to the rest. But how truthful was some parts of her journal? Like, is the whole journal bullshit, or is some of it real? Because it seemed like some of it tied back to things that would align with Nick's personality.
Yeah, I think every single thing was written in the worst possible light. So while some of the stuff may be real, I think she's obviously writing it 3 years later or 7 years later, whatever the date. Like she wrote it like 2 or 3 months ago for stuff that happened. Like, so if you're looking back and being like, this guy sucks now, every single part of the story now that was maybe good is now bad. So you're just like, oh, let me change these things to make it more reflective of this narrative. So I think, while I think Nick is like emotionally detached and probably not a very good communicator and not a lot of things, I don't think he's an abuser, like a physical abuser, like he's obviously painted. And I don't think he's money hungry, which I think is obviously, I think there's certain things that are like him buying
Not an
a bunch
avid
of the
golfer. Yeah,
yeah,
I get it.
him buying a bunch of suits and throwing them in the corner. I don't think that happened.
Okay,
like,
so
didn't
that
happen,
one
right?
was one that I was wondering. Yeah. Okay.
I mean, that doesn't fit his character really at all. So it's like, why would that all of a sudden happen unless she's trying to paint him as someone that wants money and wants, it didn't really make sense.
That's fair. But he's still a total asshole, and I'll get to the things that must be true. One of them being the whole treasure hunt thing. So every anniversary, Amy puts together an elaborate treasure hunt where at the end of it, he's going to find something that aligns with whatever the gift category is for that anniversary, like paper, wood, freaking aluminum. I have no idea. I'm not into this stuff. I got no idea. But what I am into is elaborate treasure hunts. I mean, who doesn't like an elaborate treasure hunt? We got the Goonies, Raiders of the Lost Ark, The Mummy, National Treasure 2. Come on, people. Like, I loved all of those movies, and the idea of a treasure hunt is awesome to me. If someone's going to put that together, people pay for this stuff. People pay for people to put these together for them. When we were in high school, me and a couple of my buddies, we had some friends, and they put together a treasure hunt for us. It was wonderful. It took us to all of our favorite spots around town, including Chili's, where there was nachos waiting for us. It was wonderful. Wow. Yeah, there was
any treasure hunt that ends in Chili's. I'm in.
We had one of them took us to a convenience store we used to go to, and they had Richie's Italian ices for us. It's great stuff.
Oh, wow. Yeah, it's really nice.
Yeah. So an elaborate treasure hunt is great. And, Nick and Go, and this is definitely true because it comes from Nick's perspective, because it's like, the day of the first morning. Nick and Go sitting at the bar drinking, and they're just complaining about Amy's upcoming anniversary treasure hunt. It's like she's putting so much effort into putting this treasure hunt together for you. Like, you have literally nothing going on with your life. Shouldn't you be excited about this? And yeah, I get it. The clues are kind of a weird test to see if Nick remembers minute details of, things that happened to them in the past. And it's probably set up for him to fail and feel bad that he doesn't remember. But it's still a treasure hunt at the end of the day. So
I think you're thinking of a fun treasure hunt where there's something at the end that's good. I think the treasure hunts he was getting were like taking the SATs or something. It was like, this is not fun at all. This is grueling. And then at the end, you get upset when I get an answer wrong.
Yeah, it was like,
what the hell?
It was like it was like the place where I go when I feel blue, and it was the Little Mermaid statue in Central Park or something like that. And she was like, "Oh, I told you that all the time. That's where I used to go when I was sad. Like, I'd go to that." And he was like, "I don't remember." So he probably should do a little bit more remembering. And if you made this fun throughout the year, he was like, oh, okay, like she's putting stuff together. You can put on a happy face and go enjoy a treasure. It's also not like if he got there and he didn't get it, or he had issues with the clue, she'd give him hints and they'd eventually go there. And then they'd be like, oh, okay, here we are. Nice, cool, I got there.
I think I'm on his side on some of this. I think if it'd be like asking someone like, all right, here's the treasure hunt. Who's like my favorite player in college, and what school did he go to? What number was he? And you're like, what the fuck do I care about this?
Sammy Watkins,
exactly.
I know who it is.
What number is he, kid? See,
no
like you don't know. You don't even know about anything about me. Yeah. But that just seemed like it was just like a very personal test rather than like a.
It was a how well do you know me test. But it is great. It's actually great that the final treasure hunt, which is the 5th anniversary one that we're seeing throughout the story, it's easy enough for Nick to figure out, but it's not clear to him until the end of it that it's all the places he had used to cheat on Amy. And then, it ends at the shed with all of the stuff that he was like, I never bought all this stuff. And it's just all there. So it kind of all hits him at once as to,
well, this goes back to the awareness thing.
Yeah.
She's able to track him to all these different places, and he hasn't noticed at all one time that she's following him to all these places. Like, get some awareness one time from me.
Yeah, how many cars are on the street of your dad's rundown house? Like,
right,
not
exactly.
many. So,
yeah.
So yeah, so the $1,000 suits, I didn't know about that, but if that's, we'll say that that's probably not true. Fine, okay, I'm okay with that. What do we think about the prenup thing? Because the prenup thing seemed pretty real to me. He's goes out with his buddies after they all get fired or whatever the case is. He goes home drunk after bar hopping, and they go to the strip clubs, and he's crying over the fact that they have this prenup between them, even though Amy says it's our money. And he's using this whole time while he's on this night out, he's using her credit card or his credit card that Amy pays for from her trust fund to get lap dances. Like, what are we talking about here? Is that real or is that fake?
Yeah, I think all of that. I think anything that's money involved, because whenever we're in his head, he doesn't really seem to care about like money. Is not never like been like, I was struggling, all these things. He never really talks about money. So I assumed anything that was money involved was painted in order to show that he killed her over money. Or like the money's a big thing for him.
Okay. That's
so, I just assumed, because I was reading the same way when the first half. I was like, I don't really get why I remember Amy being a bad character in this. She doesn't seem that villainous here. Yeah. But I think all of that's painted in that way for that direction, because obviously I think the bad parts about him is that he doesn't really care, and then he cheats on his wife. I mean, those are the main two things.
No, there's one way worse.
All right,
so you can throw out everything else.
Yeah, okay.
Besides the treasure hunt stuff, because I'm going to stand behind that.
Okay.
But my final straw with him, and for me, honestly, this is worse than the cheating, and would 1,000% lead me down the rabbit hole of framing my significant other for murder. It's the Eggs Benedict situation. The Eggs Benedict situation.
I don't even remember this, so go on.
Amy makes Nick a beautiful Eggs Benedict for breakfast, and he decides when breakfast is ready, it's like, hey, breakfast is ready, let's go. He gets a phone call from Go, and he's like, I gotta take this. What? It's Eggs Benedict. It has a half-life of 90 seconds. The poached egg is cooling by the second. The hollandaise sauce, congealing. It's already starting to congeal the second it hits the plate. It's hot food, people. We do not take phone calls when hot breakfast food is ready. It's not like you can't just whip up a hollandaise sauce. It's, I understand if it was some over easy egg sitting on a plate and it's like, okay, I got to take a phone call. Whatever, I'll give this one to the dog and I'll make you another one. This is Eggs Benedict. She toasted that English muffin. There's a little slice of ham on there that's perfectly browned. We got hollandaise sauce. Like I really don't. The second he picked up that phone, I don't care that the phone call from Go was her telling him that his mother had cancer. I don't care about that aspect of it. Just the fact that he picked up the phone is absolute non-starter. I'm going to plan my own fake murder and frame me for it.
I didn't realize Eggs Benedict had such a short shelf life. I wasn't aware of that.
Have you ever been to a diner and your food is ready in the window, but they don't bring it out to you and it's Eggs Benedict?
Yeah, the plate's
and
hot.
The top of the hollandaise sauce is just like American cheese if it has been left out too long. You know what I mean?
I mean, a diner I'd never order. Maybe a nice
You'd never
breakfast
order Eggs Benedict?
Come on, get a diner? What are we talking about here?
Yeah, I think so.
Diners, you go like the All-Star Special, kid. You're going highfalutin.
No, I usually don't. I don't get it anyways, mostly because it's pretty decadent for me.
Okay.
But, yeah, if I was at a fancy place, for sure. But, yeah, I'm with you. I get like the Hungry Man. Give me the place I get is called the Cape Codder. It's 2 eggs, how you like them, meat, your choice of meat, and a grilled corn muffin.
Oh, yeah. God, that sounds so good. Grilled corn muffins is
Nothing
literally
better.
my go-to.
I saved that for last because I know that you'd be.
That's
you'd be
amazing.
That.
Damn, I'm pumped up right now.
Yeah.
God.
Also, Go is kind of a piece of shit too. She doesn't like.
Well,
Amy.
I was gonna say it's more that he's banging his sister that you'd be upset about, right? And what kind of terrible name is Go? Margot's a great name. I love the name Margot.
Yeah.
Go?
Go.
What do you? I kept being like, is this like a French fucking G-O-U-G-H or some bullshit? Like what? Like Beau? Beau's like B-A-U-E-X or something?
I think.
I was like, is that her name? Because I was in the audiobook, obviously.
Yeah.
And then everyone was like, her name's Margot? Like, Jesus, what a terrible... How about like Marg or something? That would be better. Margarita would be better than Go. Go is such a terrible nickname. I'm so upset about that, mostly.
Yeah, but Go, she doesn't like Amy, but she takes her money to open a bar just that she can sit in the bar and shit on Amy the whole time. You know, she's
Yeah,
Nick's,
that's a great point.
she's Nick's
That's a good
twin, and they obviously have a close relationship.
Banging each other. Yeah.
But she couldn't pull together the nerve to tell him not to marry Amy. It says, oh, they never really got along, and Go would always say these things about Amy, kind of like beating around the bush that she didn't like her. But it's your twin brother, and you never flat out said, hey, I need to let you know that I do not think this is a good person for you, and you should not marry this person. The whole thing is partially Go's fault. So her being holier than thou and telling Nick what he should and shouldn't be saying, and that he's such an idiot, and like, don't cheat on your wife, like, chill out.
Agreed.
No other stock downs for you, right? I gotta say one thing about the cops. I just didn't like when they asked him about Amy's blood type. Like, oh, you know what Amy's blood type is? He's like, no, I don't. They're like, you don't know Amy's blood type?
That's ridiculous. We've on this very pod we've talked about this before, and I have a theory that blood type's fake. I don't think it's real. I still don't believe in it. Who was the first person that ever figured out when you're like transferring blood that some of them just kill you if you transfer blood? Like, what?
I don't know. Jonas Salk? I have no idea.
Yeah, that's fake. It's all made up by Big Blood.
The Red Cross.
I don't know my blood type, honestly. So
I don't
know
either. I don't know my blood type. I don't know my wife's phone number. I definitely don't know her fucking blood type.
Classic. All right, we're back.
Oh, it's ridiculous.
Maybe we're. I was reading this and I'm like, am I Nick Dunn at times?
Oh, I was like, am I Amy?
That's why our relationship works right here. See?
Yeah, 100%.
If you're running a business and your ads aren't working, listen up. Covell Marketing has managed over $120 million in ad spend across Google, Meta, and TikTok ads. They've helped clients actually grow their sales and leads, not just get clicks that go nowhere. Paid search, paid social, full digital marketing consulting. You want less jargon and more results? Then go to Covell.io, that's Covel.io, and get your free audit and tell them Buddy Book Club sent you. Got a golf trip or a scramble round coming up? 4Card is the free website your group needs. Set up a match in 2 minutes, share a link with your crew, and everyone's on the same live leaderboard all round long. No more texting for scores. Real-time updates, group chat, photo sharing, it's all there. Try it on your next round at 4card.app. That's FORECARD.app.
Did you have a favorite scene?
I just liked when the real voice of Amy came out. I was like, oh shit. That was the best part to me. Yeah, when she was like, she just started shitting on people. She became the real villain. I was like, oh, damn. All right, I like her now.
She's like, I'm not going around shaving my vagina for you. It's awesome.
Wait, what? That was what you got from that?
That's what she said.
Yeah, she was like waxing.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't know he was a particular.
I like how that's the one. I was like, yeah, when she started talking down to people and like wanting to kill people and like all this stuff, you're like, yeah, the vagina part. I'm like,
well, I think that was like the first thing she says in part 2.
Oh, okay.
When she's saying the cool, like how I'm not the cool girl.
There was a part in the beginning of that book where she's describing the She's like, you know, the thing about Nick is he's just such a caring, nice gentleman, like really good person. Huge dick.
Yeah.
And then I was like, the audiobook, I was like, wait, what? I had to rewind it a few times. I was like, is that like messed up? Because it was just so weird out of context.
I was picturing Gillian Flynn in her office, like with the pencil and just like writing like Nick, all these nice things about Nick, and then like stopping for a second at the keyboard, tapping the eraser to her mouth, and then being like, oh, aha moment. Yeah. Huge dick. Nodding, being like, done for the day. Good.
I didn't understand the character until that. Then I said, got it. That checks out to me.
So
I was like, never mind, I'm not like Nick Dunn. Never mind, check.
So your favorite scene was the turn. Part two, heel
sure.
turn. Like, oh shit.
Yeah, even though I knew it was coming, I still didn't know it was coming. You know, one of those things. So I liked it.
Yeah.
Related
but unrelated, and I kind of talked about it before, but when Nick realizes that she's been messing with him. You know, that she's definitely not gone, which I think is right before that. It's like he finds the clubs and realizes it's more than golf clubs, but whatever. He finds all that stuff and then realizes. And then I think that's the end of part 1. And then part 2 goes into like, hey, I'm Amy. Haven't been waxed yet. Got it. Characters. There's not many characters in this. Did you have a favorite one?
I think I paid tribute to to Desi Collings. I think we're getting the view of him from Amy, and so we're getting the painted the worst possible. But like, if you think about him as a character, he comes and saves her and like does all these romantic gestures and is doing all these things and is like, and then she's like, he won't get out of my hair. I'm like, what? Like, he came and saved you, you know, like, and he's also putting himself out there. He's going to get arrested if it ever comes to, so he's like obviously protective of himself. I don't know. I thought it was just weird, but the real character is Boney. But
yeah, no, I'm a big Boney fan myself, but you couldn't be further off base with Desi. He's a psychopath just as much as Amy, just in a different way. He has a whole room of like a greenhouse of tulips because
romantic,
that was
sir.
favorite flower
romantic.
in high school, and he's made it so they can bloom year round. He never knew he was going to see this person again.
Kid,
she's married.
Have you seen The Notebook? This is literally the plot of The Notebook. He's doing The Notebook thing.
I haven't. No, I haven't. I mean, I have.
Oh,
You're a bird,
right,
I'm a bird. I remember that.
Not to spoil it, but he's like builds a whole mansion for her, and she leaves his wife for him, or her husband for him.
Oh, so maybe he was just
And
watching The
does
Notebook on rerun.
Yeah, it was basically the Notebook. It was exactly The Notebook, and everyone's like, "What a romantic!" Because he's Ryan Gosling. Just imagine him as Ryan Gosling. Now, do you think he's romantic?
Oh, instead
There
of
you
NPH, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So there you go.
I'm down. I'd go into
all
his.
you need to do.
I'd go into his love nest. She was like coming on to him hard, which you would think would be all he was looking for, and he was like, I don't know. Are you sure you're ready for this?
Yeah,
like,
he was a nice guy.
You know,
like I said.
She's like, let's have sex. He's like, I don't know. Like, let's take it slow. It's like, whoa, dude, this is like you spent years planting tulips, literally planting the seed. So you should do something about it. I'm gonna go with Amy. You know, Amy's mine.
I liked her. Yeah,
I do agree with her that all the like commercials for household goods, like air fresheners, show a woman, you know, presumably a wife and mother, happily spraying furniture, spraying it in the air, taking in the fresh scent, you know, looking pleased that her husband's gonna come home to a clean house. It's so true that, you know, we really just live in a society where those things are pillars and you can't get away from it. It's bullshit. It's sexist. It is, you know. So I'm with her that there are asks or
wait,
society
things that smell good is like not for men.
No, she's talking about the commercials. How that would be a commercial of a woman with a, you know. I just thought about the fresh seconds. If you think about a Febreze commercial, it's never some guy at home.
Well, you don't get upset
pillows.
when there's like a commercial of like some woman baking cookies and they smell like the fresh baked cookies and it's a woman and you're like, I do that. What the hell? You don't get upset about that?
I'm not like I'm not upset with either of them. I just think it's stupid, you know, that there's these
marketing.
like, assigned
Luckily, we don't know
gender
anything about
roles,
those.
you know, that the marketing departments go all in on and tell people what to do. And I agree that, you know, it's one thing that, and then another thing with like, oh, wear pantyhose to make your legs look better. It's not. I agree that it's not easy being a woman. But I do think Desi is maybe crazier than Amy, and I kind of wish
it's through her eyes though.
I kind of wish it went the other way. And when she gets to Desi and all this stuff goes down, he shows how he's crazy, sure, through her eyes or whatever. But he turns into like a full Buffalo Bill from Silence of the Lambs. And she thinks she's in a safe place where now she has the upper hand. And instead he throws her down a well and tells her to put the lotion on her skin. You know, that I would have loved that.
Well, then she wouldn't be as crazy, really. Well, what is interesting is when she gets robbed by those people, I'm like, fuck these people. I absolutely hate those people, even though she's doing something way, way worse than they are. I'm like, these people are the scum of the earth. I hope they die.
Yeah.
Like,
they're opportunistic scum. She had planned this whole thing out.
Well, I guess the biggest thing, too, is loyalty. Like, she was being friendly and loyal to them, and then they turned her back, you know? Whereas she's kind of screwing over someone that was turned their back on her. So it's a little bit more, you're not as angry about it. Although I guess she's screwed all the other people that were loyal to their mind. Anyways,
but I like the idea. I like the spitballing.
Yeah.
Definitely not my favorite character, Nick, like we've talked about. He's so weird. At the end, when she's been back for a month and he's getting some of the old feelings back, he says at one point, he's like, oh, I live with a murderous wife who's also super fun. And it's like, oh, how fun, do you ask? Well, I had lobsters flown in like we did in the old days, and we had so much fun. I chased her around the house with a lobster. She chased me. Then we both pretended to hide. We made the same Annie Hall jokes at the same time. And then he had to like leave the room because his heart was palpitating and he thought he was going to cry or something. It's like, Nick, you got issues. Like, one, not fun. That is not, it's fun to do to a kid. If you got little kids around, you pull a live lobster out. But, you know, maybe I'm just a loser or like have a cold, dead heart. But the wife and I running around the kitchen island attacking each other with lobsters it's not going to make my heart palpitate.
Have you seen Annie Hall, though? That's the question.
I have seen Annie Hall, and I understand that it's like, oh, cool, this is a reference with the same Annie Hall jokes. Like, okay, whatever. The guy's also a rapist. So what's what are we talking about? He tried to marry his daughter. Like, or he did marry his daughter. I don't even know. One of them.
Stepdaughter, sir. Or no, is
adopted.
It half-daughter?
Adopted.
Okay, yeah.
No, you're thinking about Elon Musk's dad, who married his stepdaughter.
Jesus. Okay. All these good people.
Yeah. And he married his stepdaughter when she was his ex-stepdaughter. She was his stepdaughter from ages like 4 to 20. And then he broke up with her mom, and then they got together when she was like 25 or something. Good yeah. This pretty fucked up. That's Elon Musk. That's the richest. Well, it's his dad. So, I mean, you know, but I'm sure the apple doesn't fall too far.
Stock down parents. Yeah.
Parents definitely fucked him up for sure. What about love hates? Let's get into some love hates. What did you love about Gone Girl?
You already mentioned it, but I really liked Amy as a bad guy. I think the typical trope is like, this guy's perfect person and he's so great, and then he turns bad. But I like seeing, this is like a great character. I thought it was a really interesting. I mean, that's why, like, when I first saw the movie, I was like, holy shit, that was an incredible movie, because you don't really see it coming.
Yeah, Rosamund Pike is really good in it.
Yeah. And I have seen a couple of, like, women revenge movies that I don't think are very good, because they're, like, they don't take it to, like, the real... They don't do Red Rising, like, I'm gonna fucking kill a whole population to revenge myself.
Yeah, there's no scorched earth, for sure.
Yeah, this was like, holy shit, this is, like, psychological scorched earth. It was a mix of, like... You're kind of rooting for her at times, too, which even though...
Yeah, she's like, fuck Nick, fuck Margot, fuck my parents, fuck the whole society.
But she's so crazy, it's good, you know? Yeah, so, yeah, I liked her a lot.
I like the structure. I was a big fan of the structure, with, like, part one being Nick's narration at the time of the disappearance, and then that switching off with excerpts from Amy's diary. It was a great idea, and with the twist of, like, her... not actually being disappeared was great. As a reader, it messes with your mind, and it's unfortunate that I knew a little bit, obviously, going into it from remembering a little bit of the movie, but it messes with your mind of, you know, I'm pulling out things from her diary, and you're like, yeah, that's fake. I'm like, I don't even know, you know?
Yeah.
But it doesn't do that thing where sometimes when they do a little weird twisty thing like that, you're like, oh, so everything else was useless, and I shouldn't have even read it. Like, I don't feel that way. Because sometimes, you know, we've read some of these terrible thrillers where it's like they just throw out 100 red herrings. It's like you could have saved the pages. Like, those are all stupid. And then part two, starting with Amy, and you're like, oh shit, you know, what the fuck? Like, she's alive, and now she's a totally different person than the person that we've been hearing from, like the narrator that we've been hearing from. So yeah, I was a big fan of the structure of it.
Well, and you mentioned it too. We've read a bunch of these thrillers, and like usually on these I have, you know, 20 notes being like, why the hell would they do that? That's so stupid. This person doesn't make any sense. And this is like, the characters are very, very real, it seems like. Mm-hmm. You can see personality traits, and, you know, even though they're psychotic, you can see those things that are like, oh, I can see why they would think that. And so that is, I didn't have like any notes on it for like most of the book, because I was like just in it, you know. I wasn't thinking like, that's so stupid that would happen, you know what I mean? It was just the whole time in it. So
yeah, you're also the you know, the relationship is so messed up that it would be easy for you to think, how do these people even get together? Like, that, it doesn't make any sense that they would be together. Yeah. I don't get it. But because they're both so crazy, but they're both so crazy in different ways. Mm-hmm. And when you catch them at the right time, you know, it's like, oh, sparks will fly, but eventually it will turn into a fire tornado like Dresden or Tokyo. I don't know if you've gotten to that yet in your World War II documentary, but well, let's get to hates. What do you hate?
I mean, I wish I read the book before the movie, because I think the movie, obviously, the big twist was kind of, I knew it. And then I think the movie, you're also kind of picturing the characters beforehand, which made it a little tougher.
Uh-huh.
I did think, from the book standpoint, I did think the ending dragged a little bit too much. I was kind of like, that was the one time where I was like, yo, once she walks in the door, I'd be like, where you been? And then she'd be like, well, this is all the things that happened. I'd be like, cool. And then I'd be like, all right, see you later. And I'd just pick up and I'd be 100% gone. I would never talk to that person again. Like, she'd obviously framed you. There's no like, well, let's see her justify this one. I'd be like, cops, your job is to find the reason, like, find out if she actually did this shit. I don't care. Good luck with her life. I'll see you later. That's the end of the story for me. But I guess he is a crazy person, so he wanted to stay deep down.
Yeah, it seemed a little far-fetched for me that her whole plan was to do this whole thing and then murder herself in Mexico. She decides not to kill herself in Mexico. So then she's kind of going back through it all to rewrite the narrative about Nick specifically. I understand how she gets away with her disappearance with the whole Desi thing. Like, okay, cool, she did fine there. But when it comes to Nick being in trouble for murdering her, it's like all of that kind of gets thrown out the window, and her diary starts to make less sense now that they're both there, and there are things within it. Like, once she came back, there just seems like there was way too many holes in the story that couldn't be filled by Amy. And I know she tried, and you know, some of it was able to be done, but the golf clubs too, it's like, okay, check his credit card to see if he's ever played a round anywhere. It's like he's never played golf, so why would he buy Mizuno $2,000 clubs if he's literally never played anywhere? It's just like, huh? And also, it doesn't matter anymore because now she's back. So it's like, oh, well, now I have this attempted murder thing. It's like, okay, well, that you could easily just be a crazy person and have done that to yourself. You know, I don't think a jury's going to convict him. So you don't need to stay around because, oh, there's frozen vomit somewhere that she decided to hide. If she didn't think she was being murdered at the time, she just thought she was sick, but it felt kind of weird. You think she'd just like put her vomit in a bag and freeze it?
Yeah.
Like, what?
I guess she could just say, oh, this happened recently. I don't know. Yeah, it doesn't make sense. The other thing that was like, Desi shows up to the vigil or whatever, right?
Uh-huh.
Isn't he currently kidnapped her and driving on the road with her to somewhere? Like, I was like, how is he in two places at once? Don't you think there'd be like multiple cameras you could use and all these other things you could find being like, oh, he didn't actually kidnap her? Like, it seems like there'd be a way to find out that Desi was actually innocent. But.
Yeah, even without that, it seems like Nick could just leave. You know, like you said, he could just be like, all right, well, I'm out of here. So he wants it in a way.
Yeah,
maybe he just wants
sure.
it. That's the thing.
I do think I feel like the movie, again, I don't remember. I feel like the movie, they have him trapped in a better way, or maybe just quicker. And it's like, oh, I have to stay. Like, one of those things. So I thought it was a little bit better in the movie, maybe. I don't know. I can't remember though. And I liked it being trapped, by the way. I thought it was a great ending.
I'm cool with it. But once she said like she was pregnant, it did go on for like a few more chapters that I was like, all right, like I don't really need this. I think I'm good. And yeah, I guess the ending was, people had different opinions about it. You seemed to like it. I seem to feel like I didn't necessarily like it, but I don't hate it. It wasn't terrible. I just thought.
Did you want
I would have liked some more definitive closure, but I also do like the idea, in whether it be movie or a book, that we can kind of draw our own conclusions to what happened. Mm-hmm. It doesn't need. I don't need it to be put together with. It doesn't need to be Star Wars, where it's like, okay, I know exactly what happened at the end here, and I can move on. I think with a thriller type thing like this, I'm okay with a little more open-endedness. What would you give it, and who's it for?
I give it a 4.0. I think it was. I liked it. I liked it. Yeah, out of 5. I think I liked it more than you. It sounded like based off the text, but I just think she's a great writer. I think I had to put the book down at times early on because I was like, this is a little too real for me. I don't really want to deal with this right now. Yeah. I've had this before with her books where other thrillers, I think they're kind of like goofy almost sometimes, where you're like, this is so out there that it's almost like reading a fantasy book where you're like, this doesn't seem like the real world. So whatever, it's not a big deal reading this. Where this one is like, this feels like I could turn the news on. This could be happening. So I don't really want to get into this today.
Yeah, it's a great point because Gillian Flynn has said that she's a huge true crime fan. And it felt like true crime. We've read so many other thrillers that is exactly like you said. You know, they seem fantastical, or, you know, they seem like a farce, whatever the case is. But this seemed like it could be a 2020 episode. At each turn, you're like, holy shit, yeah, what? How did they do that? So seeing this relationship implode in front of us, and then the aftermath of what someone is willing to do to really punish someone for what they had done, I felt real, and it felt definitely like a 2020 episode. I after I sat with it a little longer, I gave it a 3.5.
Not bad.
Which I think is very fair, and it was mostly because we're talking about. I think we've read so many thrillers on here, and most of them are just so bad that this being good, and I think it's very good. Her writing is good for sure, but it's hard to do this. She put the twist is like halfway through the book, yet we still want to continue to read and know what happens. And there's little like mini twists in there throughout the Desi stuff, obviously, but the big twist of her being alive and her, you know, diary being fake and her not being that person is like halfway through the book. It's not, oh, last page something happens and it's like that was what we're here for, you know, kind of like written by AI. This is the opposite of that. So 3.5. Yeah, I'd say if someone has never heard of it, obviously, which should be hard to do, I would definitely recommend it as a thriller. This and Sharp Objects, they were both really good.
Yeah, agreed.
Well, what do we got coming up next?
Next we got Redwall.
Yeah, what a turn.
Yeah, I don't know. Did you read this when you were a kid?
Yes, like 4th grade maybe.
Okay. Redwall by Brian Jacques.
Jacques? I don't know.
Yeah. Which the audiobook's a little bit tough. But,
you can't listen to the audiobook.
It's a Scottish or not it's either a Scottish or Welsh person reading it, and I'm like, this is impossible. And I finally get used to it, and the bad guy's voice is, I have no idea what the accent is. It's like, it's the worst accent I've ever heard. You can't understand what the guy's saying.
What?
I'm like,
the main character's a mouse, though. Why didn't they get a mouse to read it?
And it's this is the first book I've read, and I can't remember when. That's at 1x speed. I'm not even speeding it up because I'm like, I can't understand what these fuckers are saying. Nonetheless, I don't know how this is a kid's book, but it's hilarious. But yeah.
I'm really surprised that you'd never read it. It was like, it's like a whole series. It was like
back
big.
In my head, I feel like I've heard of this or read it, or like another life I've read it. You know, like deja vu reading it, but I don't remember it.
This completely. Is like what gets kids into fantasy. Is this book?
Yeah, maybe I did. I maybe, but we'll see by the end if I can recall.
I mean, I don't recall any of it. I just remember reading in 4th grade and being like, "Oh shit!" Like this, and maybe like the Wrinkle in Time.
Wasn't there another like Disney animated show with mice that did similar like adventures?
Well, there's tons of that. You talking about the Great Mouse Detective? What do you mean?
Yeah, maybe. That's why I'm like
Rescuers. The Rescuers Down Under.
That's what I'm thinking of. Yes,
the Rescuers.
Exactly.
Yeah. This is definitely very different than those. This is more like medieval. But as I'm reading it, I was like, "Holy shit! This is for like elementary schoolers." Like some of the, and also some of the vocabulary is like I don't even know what it means.
Yeah.
So good for them. But the book has a map, which is already up there for me.
Jeez, I maybe have to find the book.
The map is like the kids' Monopoly version of real Monopoly. If you were thinking about like Lord of the Rings to this map, it's like Lord of the Rings is Middle Earth. It's this massive place with all these different places. This is like, here's the Abbey, and it's like a circle with like, here are the woods next to the Abbey. Here's the open gate next to the Abbey.
That's what the kind of map I want.
Yeah, it's like a child drew the map. But yeah, we got Redwall coming up next, and then I think we're gonna have a couple interviews after that. So should be fun. All right, Keith. Well, that was Gone Girl. Don't go disappearing me. I'll talk to you for Redwall.
All right.
All right. Bye now.
Bye now.